In this video, we continue with the application from a previous video. Spring Authorization Server, Spring Resource Server, Spring Cloud Gateway and Spring OAuth 2 Client, and an Angular app. You can find the link to the code from the previous video in the upper right corner. Today we discuss a custom login and a custom consent screen in the Spring Authorization Server. We start in a browser window with the result of the new code. We launched the 4 Spring Boot applications and the Angular app and open the result in a browser window with 127.0.0.1 port 8090. We can now log in with username user and password. As you can see, the login screen has been customized to our own needs. The next screen is the consent screen, also customized to our own requirements. Select both scopes and click Submit Consent. We are now logged in and can access the resource server's data and user info in our browser window. We are back in Eclipse and can go over the code of the Spring Authorization Server. The rest of the code has not changed and can be viewed in the previous video. In the POM XML file we have Spring Boot Starter 3.1.4 and Java version 21. We have the dependencies: Spring Boot Starter OAuth 2 Authorization Server, Spring Boot Starter Timeleaf. In the application YAML file we have server port 9000 and the application name. The main class is a default Spring Boot Startup class. In the security config class we have 2 security filter chain beans. The first bean is the config of the OAuth 2 endpoints. We have the consent screen here. OpenID config, Login exceptions config, and the resource server config. In the second bean we have the config of all other endpoints and the form login with the path of the custom login screen. Furthermore, we have the Web Security Customizer, In-Memory User Details Manager, Registered Client Repository, OAuth 2 Authorization Consent Service, JWK Source, JWT Decoder, Authorization Server Settings, and the OAuth 2 Token Customizer bean configuration. The login controller is a simple endpoint for the custom login screen. And finally the class for the consent controller. This controller is much more elaborate because we need to pass a lot of information to the screen. We collect the following data to pass to the HTML page: state, client ID, scopes, previously approved scopes, and the principal name. The last block of code are the login HTML, consent HTML, and the style CSS files. The login HTML file is a simple form to enter the username and password. The consent HTML file is a little more elaborate because we need to show more information, but in itself it is also a form. The style CSS file are the style configuration to make the pages a little nicer. That's it for this video. Thanks for following to the end and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.